guys, you're welcome to my channel, and I'm your girl, the Iseoluwa. I'm still your girl, the Iseoluwa. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. So guys, you're welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber, and if you're new here, kindly subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button so you wouldn't miss out on any amazing videos. So guys, today we're going to be doing a book review, and I'm going to be reviewing Toni Ajewole's Dear Creatives. In light of what we're going to be discussing today, I have a video that I uploaded sometimes this year, sure. And you know, I think the title is The Creative Artist and His Craft. So you know, in that video I tried to discuss who the creative artist is, what is his craft, what is the creative process, and you know, the outcome of his creative process and the things the creative artist needs to do. I actually promised a part 2 of that video and I haven't forgotten. I'm still going to do it. So today we're going to be doing a review of Toni Ajewole's Dear Creatives. So guys, before I continue with the review, I'm going to say this, that see, you know the way they used to tell us when we were young, that knowledge is power, yeah? Knowledge is actually still power. And you know, oftentimes we say things like, oh, education is a scam, all of that and everything. Well, considering our education system and everything, we can say that education is a scam. You know, the fact that you're educated does not guarantee success. It does not even, you know, guarantee you just basic opportunities that you should have as a graduate and all of that. But you know, knowledge is still power. You know, having the right knowledge is the most important thing. So knowledge is still power. And as creatives, I believe that it is very important actually that we read a lot and that we expose, how will I say this? You know, we expose we're open-minded, yes. So it's important that we actually read a lot. It helps us broaden our perspectives and see things from other people's opinion and actually see the world in, you know, not just our myopic view. Myopic, yeah, I think so. Yeah, myopic view. So, you know, it's actually important that we read a lot. If you've done any course on writing, you know, I've done a few courses on writing, and I know one of the things they say is you have to read a lot and then write a lot. So it's just like, if you want to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student, something like that. So you know, as a creative, you have to be open-minded and you have to read a lot. It's important because, as I said, you know, having the right knowledge is actually very important. So, and also guys, you can actually get this book for free, and you know, I'm going to drop the link below in my description so you can click on the link and download the book. I believe that this is a book that you should read. You know, the author is actually a very young person, and then it's, how will I say, the book is very relatable, and you know, it's very relatable and it's very relevant, and I believe that you should read this book as a creative. So I'm going to read out an extract from the book. It says, "It is very easy to think a creative is anyone who has a career in design, painting, arts and the likes." It says, "No, that is wrong. It is just short-sighted, and it doesn't fit in any way into all that we have been saying and all we will say in this book." You're going to have to read this book to know all that we have been saying and all that we'll still say. And he said another thing, that a creative is anyone that creates art for art's sake, be it a doctor, a scientist, a carpenter, teacher, anyone. A creative sees the world from a different perspective and aims to give meaning, or a better meaning, by creating change. In a simple term, a creative is an alternative entrepreneur. Also, to understand who an alternative entrepreneur is, you have to read this book. And a creative is an artist that sees the world differently. This also means that an artist is not limited to a writer or painter or what have you. So I'm going to address this thing. Oftentimes when people hear creatives, what comes to your mind is a painter, I don't know, a dancer, I don't know. But then oftentimes people tend to relate being a creative to being in the performing arts or being in the fine arts or the creative arts and everything, and it necessarily isn't so. See, as the word implies, a creative is someone who is creative. Is that simple, yeah? So when you hear creative, don't let your mind think, oh, a painter or a carpenter or anything like that. No, a creative artist, okay, when we say a creative artist, now artist qualifies what kind of creative the person is, yeah? But when you hear creative, it's not just restricted to being an artist. If you're a creative, you're creative. So, I want you to have that at the back of your mind, that a creative is not just someone in the arts. Yeah, anybody can be a creative. Yeah. So, and I'm going to read his dedication to you so that you know why he wrote this book. And this is a book that I actually find very resourceful, and very relatable. So he says in his dedication, dedicated to every creative who cares enough to do something remarkable and meaningful with every given opportunity, and to everyone who after reading this book will be brave enough to stand up, challenge the status quo, create change, and lead. So he wrote this book basically for creatives, and this book is, let me assure you, it's not one of those self-help books or those motivational books that you just read and all of that. Anyways, it depends on you, because oftentimes when you read motivational books and self-help books, there's this way it gives you ginger. I'm back again with my word. That's why it gives you this vibe and all of that, and you're just motivated and you just want to go out there and take the world and just change the world and all of that. But I'll say that there's something about this book that as you're reading it, you're inspired to actually do something. Yeah. And like every step of the way as he writes, he reminds you of the fact that it is important for you to actually do something with whatever it is that you're learning. So I'm greatly recommending this book again. It says here, are you stuck? Stuck because you're afraid of change. Stuck because you are with the wrong people in the wrong relationship. Stuck studying the wrong course. Stuck doing the wrong job. Stuck because of what daddy, mommy will say. Stuck because of what people will say if you make that move, if you leave that place, that job, that person. Stuck because you're concerned about people's opinion about you. I think that basically captures everything. You're stuck because you don't want to take the course or training. Stuck because you don't want to lose your money. He said, more than anything, you are stuck because of fear. Yes. And I'm going to be addressing this a little bit extensively. So, as a creative, oftentimes the fear that you have is, I'm going to be saying this with myself as an example. The fear that you have is oftentimes the fear of, not being creative enough, if there's anything like that. So, you write this story, you write this poem or an article or something like that, and then you read through it and you're like, okay, this is just basically average, like there's nothing exceptional about what I've written and all of that, and then you show other people and they're like, oh, this is amazing stuff, this is good stuff and all of that. But we all know that these days the creative space is quite competitive, and then there are a lot of people who are doing so well, and you see their works and you're like, oh, this is really amazing and all of that. And the fear that you have oftentimes is the fear of, what if I'm not as creative as I think I am? Or what if people just hype my work and all of that? So even putting out this video here, like for every single video I put out, I'm always in my mind like, okay, what am I saying that people don't already know? What do I have to say that somebody has not said? Like, what is special about what I do and all of that? And considering the fact that the creative space is very competitive, there's this fear of, okay, what if as an artist I don't succeed, or what if my work is not just as good as I think it is and everything. But the important thing I think that you should know, as I said earlier, is that knowledge is power. It's very important that as a creative you are open-minded. If you feel like your skill is not good enough, see, that's actually one of the things addressed in this book, and that's why I'm strongly recommending this book to you. He addressed the fact that we have a lot of information available to us at this time, so we really do not have any excuse. So there's basically nothing that you can't learn on YouTube these days. Like, there's basically nothing you can't learn on Google. Just go on Google and learn, type whatever it is that you want to learn. Even if you might not be able to practice or anything, it's still there for you to see how they do it on Google. So, you know, considering the we have quite an advantage. If you feel that your skills need polishing, if you feel like, oh, you're probably not as good a writer as you ought to be, then take online courses or go to schools and learn. Go to a school where they teach writing and learn how to write. But the most important thing is the fact that you don't let the fear of not being good enough hold you back from doing whatever it is you want to do. Yes, it's true that there are times when you're actually not, how I say, that we actually overrate ourselves. Yeah, there are times like that. But then, if you feel like your skill needs to be polished, then polish it and then move on. And he said something else. He said, you see, fear is okay, but being stuck is not in any way okay. Fear is natural to every human being, but it has been given more power than necessary. Fear is supposed to be used by you to motivate you, to prove to you that you can do it. So it's okay to actually fear the fact that you're probably not good enough or anything like that. But what is not okay is living it that way. Yeah. What is not okay is, you know, just settling for the fact that I'm not good enough or I'm not as creative as I think I am. And see, there's this misconception about being a creative. Oftentimes people say, okay, so there are people who are just naturally talented. Yeah, there are people who are naturally talented and all of that. But see, regardless of the fact that there are actually people who are just naturally talented and everything, there's place of you acquiring necessary skills. Yeah, and that is actually very important. You know, there's place of you being hardworking. There's place of you being hardworking as a creative. And, you know, like they say, practice makes perfect. Like, over time, you see that you actually get better. I did a writing course. I took a writing course. And, you know, one of the things that all the writers on the course actually emphasize is the fact that you have to read a lot. Write a lot. And the more you write, the better you get. Like, even for somebody who is naturally talented and, you know, probably coming up with ideas and everything, when it comes to composition, when it comes to, you know, putting the elements together and everything, skills are actually needed. So, you know, ensure that you acquire the necessary skills. If you feel like your skills need to be polished, polish them up. But then never let the fear of, you know, not being good enough, as it were, stop you from, you know, going out and, you know, doing whatever it is that you want to do as a creative. And remember, a creative is not just somebody in the arts. A creative is not just a painter. A creative is not just a theater artist. You know, a creative is, you know, a creative. And okay, another thing that was discussed in this book, and I'm going to read this. He said things changed, power changed hands. My MFM people, this is not spiritual power, so okay. He said it wasn't the Borgioses with the power anymore, but the commoners. You just needed to appeal to the commoners and boom, you're a superstar. The new currency wasn't cash, it was connection. If you haven't read this book, you won't actually understand this. You won't actually understand this part I just read. The fact that it wasn't cash, because, you know, he talked about capitalism, he talked about, you know, a lot of things, and how that, you know, the upper class at a time had an advantage, and, you know, it was very difficult and or almost impossible for a poor person to become rich, and, you know, vice versa. So, you know, he was discussing how that the creative has an advantage with the emergence of the digital era and everything. So, you know, he said, and I'll read, or I quote, the new currency wasn't cash, it was connection. How deeply you can connect with the people that matter to you is how wealthy you can become. You just need to show up every day, feed your audience with something valuable, build the connection, earn your reputation, and get influence in return. So, you know, we're familiar with the phrase influencers, yeah? Now, an influencer is somebody who has a platform and then influences people via their platform, something like that, sharp. So now, I'm not saying you should become an influencer. I'm just saying that, you know, based on what I just read now, he was explaining the fact that, you know, as a creative, we now have access to information. We now have, everybody now has a platform. You can come on YouTube and come and tell us something. You can come on Instagram and come and, you know, sell anything to us and come and tell us something. Like, the most important thing you have to realize is the fact that you have to create value and you have to give value and then build a connection. So now, you know, we actually have an advantage, which is the fact that we all have platforms. You know, your profile on Instagram, you know, we actually have an advantage, you know, with the emergence of the digital era, the information technology era. About 120 pages, and I'm not done reading it yet, but you know, I'm almost done. And when I'm done reading, I'll come back for the part 2 of the review, because you know, this book is, I just have to share it with you guys. This book is, and it's actually and the amazing thing about this book is actually the fact that you can actually download it for free. This book is free. Yeah, it's free. So I'm going to drop the link in the description below, so you guys can actually go to the link and click the link and actually download the book and start reading. This is not a book that, you know, you just download because it's free, you just leave it. The fact that it's free doesn't actually mean that there's nothing valuable in it for you to read. Let's actually take advantage of what we have in our hands, which is technology, and let's actually use it. Let's not just, it's not just enough for you to have an Instagram page and, you know, you just pepper us all the time. Don't just pepper us. So take advantage of technology, learn, go online, read articles, you know, polish and improve your skills, and, you know, broaden your perspectives actually by reading a lot. I'm saying it again, knowledge is still power. Having the right knowledge is very important. So, you know, read a lot. If you need to learn. And I want you to have this at the back of your mind, like I said before, that being a creative is, you know, being creative, and oftentimes it involves what you are doing. You know, doing things creatively is what makes you qualified to be called a creative. So it's not just enough for you to just watch this video and then read this book, or just listen to all this motivational speeches and self-help, whatever it is, and for you to just get all hyped and gingered. It's actually what you actually do with what you hear and what you read is actually the most important thing. So, you know, get creative. So as a creative, I'm going to be imploring you, you know, get busy with your creative business. Immerse yourself in your creative process until you feel like you're doing it right. And even when you don't feel like you're doing it right, keep doing it. And if it's not good now, if you continue, it will get better. So, you know, don't just have it at your back of your mind that, you know, I'm not creative, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a lie. It's a lie. Oftentimes it's just an excuse for laziness. There's no such thing like I'm not creative If you feel like you're not creative enough, you know, help yourself to be more creative. Yes, sometimes you have to, you know, sometimes you can go to places that inspire you. So in playwriting, there's something we call the playwright's muse. Muse, as in muse, like muse is not just for model. Oftentimes muse, the word muse, when used for an artist, is what inspires them, you know, what helps their creative process. For some people, you know, is for a lot of people it's different things. And find out what your muse is and get creative. Until I see you next week, stay creative and bye guys. You know I love you so much. I'm still your girl, Xiaomi Mi A3.